How did you meet your girlfriend as an introvert? Viewer edition. Story 1. Long story. So basically, this is how I got a girlfriend. I barely had friends at this point, so I'm just sitting down with my phone and I see some bullies. They were a group of girls who always bully people who don't acknowledge them. They were popular, though, but I didn't care. I'm just a Sonic kid playing my video games. Now, I didn't know that it was going to happen, but they just happened to walk by me. And they never messed with me before, so they were probably thinking a new victim would be nice. So then they start talking to me, saying, "Hey nerd, what you playing?" I replied, "My phone." So then the leader of the group grabs my phone and says, "Not anymore." So I just pull out my Switch from my backpack and start playing that. So then they try to get it, and then I walk away. The girls get confused and shout at me, "Hey, aren't you going to take your phone back?" I say, "No thanks, your hot breath is all over it now." She gets mad and tells one of her friends to block my path. So now I can't leave. Then the leader of the girls runs up to me and grabs a glass of water someone was going to drink. Then she says, "Heads up," and throws it at me. I then duck and it misses me and hits one of the other girls and ruins the outfit she had. I then reply with, "Wow, good thing, you really needed a bath," with a bold look on my face. Then it's time for track. I had to participate and I was kinda athletic, but she didn't try running fast. I'm now running on the track and the bullies are trying to get revenge on me. I see that a water thrower is trying to outrun me. She comments on how fast I'm running, and so I start actually running and I'm able to keep up. That's when I see one of the water thrower's friends running backwards. I get suspicious of it. So then I'm focused on running faster. I'm about to finish a lap and water thrower's close behind. That's when I see the girl from before standing off the track. So then I finish the lap and I just realized what was going to happen. The girl standing off the track is trying to trip me, but it's too late and I get tripped. Then the missing water thrower is laughing, right as I'm falling, but I end up rolling and getting back up really quickly, and then I see water thrower's smirk disappear. She isn't looking where she's going, and she doesn't see another person jogging in front of them, and she falls on her face after. Then I'm at lunch, and a water thrower is just trying to turn into a milk thrower. She gets a milk carton and tries to pour it on me. Of course, I already knew what was going to happen because one of them kept snickering. So then she tries to pour it on me, but I'm actually taller than her, and when she poured it, only a few drops touched my head. She's the one who gets straight A's, and was too mad to realize it wouldn't pour all on my head. I then grab the carton and pour it on her, while she's realized her plan didn't work. Now I was the milk thrower, and then school was free time. I always spend it up on the roof of the school. That's when the bullies came up here, since they knew I would be up there, since they always see me here. So they challenged me to a fight, but I'm actually good at fighting. I see my character in my game is really strong and good at fighting, so that's why I work on my skills. So I end up fighting with the leader. She was good, I must admit, but I was overpowering her. She tries to kick me and I grab her leg and turn her over, so they fall on their face. I smirked as I looked down on them. The school fight was being recorded by some people who witnessed it. I ended up getting a few bruises, but I was still winning. She had a cut on her face from her falling on it. Then a teacher came up because someone snitched. The leader then ran at me. I moved to the side and kicked them onto the concrete. But she also ended up grabbing my arm, and I fell with them, and I fell on her. Big personality. Lucky me. I got no witches when I was introverted, so this was kinda lucky to be honest. End of the story, we got sent to the principal's office, and I was shown more respect in school. Turns out the leader of the group of girls ended up falling for me. I'm actually pretty lucky, and I had a change of style. I became more extroverted, and actually, the leader who ended up becoming my girlfriend after weeks after that happened to actually become nicer and switched it up. Of course, I still get made fun of in the present run, and I do get teased for getting beat up by a girl who ended up becoming my girlfriend, but I don't care. They were popular, and I love them. Roast me for being simple right now, but yeah, I think that's it. Story 2. Aha, a good story I have for you. We were both students, different universities, but one big city. It was November, and I'd been working at a local KFC spot when she joined the team 2 years ago. As her senior, I was showing her how to do the work once in a while, and so we talked a bit in our spare time. A little remark must be made. All leftovers must be thrown out when the day ends. But I could take as much chicken home as I could carry, due to being on good terms with these immigrant guys in the kitchen, despite being an introvert. So one day she asks me to get her some food while she's doing her part of cleaning, and I take the box and fit as many hot wings as I can. She texts me later that night to thank for so much food that I gave her on a local Facebook. Short conversation, and that's all. A few days later, she texts me, once again, to have small talk. I get all nervous, a girl texts you, and this small talk descends into hentai and anime stuff quite quickly. After 3 days of nonstop chatting, she mentions some dark spots on her way home from the subway station, and I say, hey, how about I walk you home then, so you wouldn't be scared? And then I cross the whole freaking city to meet her and walk home with her. She was shocked that I really came. We took a walk that night, talking about everything in the world, me making stupid jokes and her laughing at them. We started to meet every now and then, friendly chatting in person, sometimes staying at her place. We had a wonderful time playing games, doing homework together, despite me being a STEM and her being a linguist, seeing places I would never go myself. We even spent the New Year's night together on the streets, until one night took its place, and we found ourselves kissing as if it was our last day on Earth. Nah, we didn't get laid that night. That's not what's to expect from two virgins. But in the morning she asked, ironically, so, yeah, friends? And I replied, of course, that's what all friends do at a sleepover. That's how we started dating. Never explicitly stating that we were in a relationship, just knowing that we belonged to each other. And yeah, she got me, not the other way around, as I see it. She taught me many things about life and about myself, as well as I helped her with her problems. Broke with her a year ago, though. We had two different ambitions, two different views on our future, and a very big difference in the amount of our free time. I'm very grateful to her, and just hope she doesn't hate me too much after all this. Story 3. Introvert here, always been shy when talking to women I find cute. Had lots of crushes over the years. I met this cute girl on my last day of college. I didn't even need to be there, as I had already handed in all my homework and gotten it signed off. So I decided to pop in on the last day the college was open before the summer holidays. On Monday, I saw a friend I usually spoke to on the bus, and going to and from college, she introduced me to one of her friends while on the bus. We all had fun talking, nothing awkward. Her friend was really cute. I finished all my college work on Wednesday and got it signed off. On Friday, I decided to pop back into college just to say bye to a few friends that were still there. I bumped into my bus friend on the computers in the library. She was finishing off some work. A few days later, she messaged me to say that the girl was sitting next to me had a huge crush on me. My brain immediately thought of the cute girl she was still next to on the bus, so I tried to get some more info, even got a name. Turns out to be someone she was sitting next to in the library. And she was the only friend with the name given to me on my bus friend's Facebook. I looked at these new girls' photos, hyper cute, added immediately, even shocked her that I added her. We hit it off immediately. 10 days later, on our first date, the first thing we did was a 30-minute snog on the sidewalk, cars honking at us as they passed. Went to my parents for a bit, where she fell asleep on my bed for an hour. I then took her to the beach for sunset and asked her out. Didn't hear her answer, but guessed she said yes, and I only heard an S. Then had our first shag on the beach, in the cold, all shriveled up, all tiny and cold and embarrassed, complete failure. But she kept hugging me and kissing me on our way back to my parents. She immediately suggested trying again on the bathroom floor. She had more protection, really awkward trying to be quiet, but both got all the way. I even named my manhood my nub cannon. Been together nearly 13 years, married for nearly 3 years, and have a cute little goofy-faced son. She's a fantastic wife. I absolutely love her. Story 4. To start with, I'll describe my girlfriend, now wife. She has long blonde straight hair, light brown eyes. She's 1.68 or 6'9 meters in height. She was born in Spain, but her parents moved to my country, Panama. Her name is Alexa, short for Alexandra. We both met when we were 8 years old, but I never paid much attention to her until I was 10, and we were put in the same class together. Once we were in the same class, we sat next to each other and we started talking and we became really good friends. Later on, when we started dating, I found out she traded seats with her best friend to be beside me. Aside from talking, there was no romantic interest, at least from my point of view, and it remained like that for an entire year and a half. One day in the 7th grade, I went to my locker to get some books for whatever class I had that day and found a note that fell out of my locker. I picked it up and it was a love letter that said something like, I love your eyes, your voice, your hair. I love the way you're with me, and I admire you so much. At first I was like, what the frick is this? Thinking it was a joke someone was trying to pull on me. So I started to ask who the handwriting belonged to so that I could return the letter. Little did I know she heard me say that and noticed how uncomfortable the letter made me feel. She felt so embarrassed that she went running to the bathroom crying. Her best friend slapped me across the face and told me that Alexa had made that letter for me, and now I had made her cry. I was so confused that I had to ask what the heck she was talking about, and she realized I didn't know it was Alexa's handwriting. Long story short, I apologized to Alexa and I kept her love letter. Not long after, we started a relationship that has lasted a long time. We're both 22 now and we're still together to this day. We both live together now and recently we had a baby together. Story 5. I'm naturally a loner. I really don't like the norms of society. I'm quick to discourage people from getting to know me, and I come off as rude. I found out that a girl was stalking me, but she was too nervous to meet me. I noticed how nervous she was when I spoke to her. She could hardly speak. I invited her to dinner. She had major social anxiety, so bad that she couldn't place her order. She was too nervous to speak. I got close and asked what she wanted, and she whispered it to me. It turns out she's always had major social anxiety. It turns out that I have a soft spot in my heart for people who I think others would bully. We've been together 9 years now. I still can't get enough of the feeling of having her around. She really cares about me, and she won't make any rules for me to follow. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. She doesn't hold anything against me. I can be silent all day and show up drunk at 3 a.m., and the only thing she asked is if I was hungry. In return, I wouldn't do anything that would hurt her. I must make her smile every day. We both avoid crowded places. People say that I seem to be living in a fairy tale. Lucky me. I haven't told her this, but what are the odds that I find another one like her? I wouldn't change it. I'll keep her happy. She seems to have something similar in mind. I get a massage every night. She gets my attention every night. She tries hard to make me feel comfortable. I'll try hard so that she won't regret it. She knows I have an angry soul. She also knows I'll never hurt her. I never needed her, but the quality of my life is better with her. She doesn't know, but she does have equal pull in this relationship. If she really doesn't want me to do something, then I won't. If she decides to stop me, then I'll assume it must mean a lot to her, and I'll cave. Story 6. In high school, I met my girlfriend in anatomy class. Yes, romantic, I know. And we just talked a lot and laughed at each other's jokes and all that jazz. We kind of stopped talking after a while, and then homecoming. We were freshmen at the time and weren't allowed at the dance. Lame. I was hanging out with a friend who I had a little crush on at the time, but she needed to leave early. Can't remember why. So I was alone for the first half of the football game. And then I saw that girl. She was also by herself. This surprised me because she still had a lot of friends from the year before. 9th grade was my first year at the school, and even though it had been over 3 weeks, I decided to go walk up to her and say hello. We just sat with each other, not talking. We're both serious introverts, watching the game. Then the bonfire got lit. We headed down to the dirt parking lot and watched it burn. We both decided we wanted s'mores. I grabbed 2 marshmallows and put them on my skewer. She took one. She was lighting hers and it caught on fire. The mask mandate was still up and we both had really good reasons for wearing masks. We still both wear them, so I had never seen her face before. I told her and she blew it out, but in the brief seconds I saw her face, I thought she was so pretty. I hung out with her for the rest of the night and we just told stories about ourselves to each other. From then on, we talked every day, way past midnight. Fast forward a few months of flirtatious texts, we end up getting together on Christmas Day, and we've been together since. Story 7. In the Philippines, we have a public transport called the jeepney, so back in 11th grade, I entered a jeepney to go to school, and I saw this cute lady. There was something about her that just caught my attention. She looks way too innocent, gorgeous, and conservative, which is a rare sight nowadays. I always admired her from afar whenever I would get the chance to ride the same jeepney with her on my way to school or on my way home until 1 year later in 12th grade. They were conducting surveys for their research, and they decided to approach me for an interview. While they were giving me an interview, another member of their group arrived, and this group member of theirs is a very close friend of mine. This close friend of mine knows that I have a huge crush on the lady giving me an interview. After the interview, my friend decided to push me towards her and ask this lady to take a picture with me. I didn't know how to respond because I was feeling pressured already, and I was panicking deep down because I actually didn't know how to respond to those kinds of situations because I'm very introverted. 2 days later, another friend of mine approached me and told me that a classmate of hers has a crush on me. She didn't give me much, but she told me that I sometimes ride with this lady on the same jeepney on the way to school or on the way home. I don't know why, but that just gave me a lot of courage to send her a message, and it went pretty well. We were together for 2 years, but unfortunately because we were both inexperienced in relationships, it became toxic and we decided to take a break. Story 8. I couldn't find this on the internet to comment, so here it is, guys. I was 14 at the time, just gone to a boys' boarding school. Sounds posh, I know, and it kinda was, until I realized that most people there who I like to hang out with have bursaries. So, yeah. Anyway, there's a school just down the road, which was a girls' school, and our schools did some things together. For example, some orchestras, plays, etc. Every Saturday, there was a social, which the schools arranged, where a few of the houses were put in a room together with board games or whatever, and for the first few weeks, I didn't do anything. Found a corner and sat there until it was over. Until one social day, the extrovert who had adopted me grabbed me by the collar and dragged me over to talk with some girls. The next day, I'm invited to hang out with them, and from that point, my friends and I go every week to meet up with them. One day, we're at our weekly meetup, and I notice one of them isn't there. I don't ask about it or anything, though. Anyway, one of her friends very unsubtly brings up the topic of crushes and asks if I have one on the girl who didn't turn up. Big hint, I did have a crush on her. I avoided the question for introverted reasons and got to texting this girl on Snapchat. Awkward moment when I told her I liked her, over text because I was nervous about rejection, and she liked me too. Duh, her friend may as well have told me. Anyway, that's really it. Got my first girlfriend. Story 9. The reason some of us don't really talk about our passions, that we would never stop talking about, is because we know we don't shut our mouths once we start, and that a lot of people either don't want to listen to nerdy talk or do not have enough energy to sit and chat in depth about how Nier Automata is maybe the best game to ever be made. I got Asperger's myself. I'm both awkward around other people and am passionate about different kinds of stuff, but most do not want to hear about it. I can talk day in and day out about my video games, but I need to meet that special someone that not only wants to hear about it, but can handle all that talk too. Also, I've come to realize that it might take quite some time before I even get a girlfriend. I'm too focused on trying to get some incredible friends first before getting a girlfriend. But there I am, most likely going to fail too, as I'm too aware of myself and my flaws, and try too hard fixing them up before I even try looking for one. And even then, I might not even try, as I also believe that actually looking for a girlfriend will too easily make you find a person simply desperate for love instead of a person you actually fit well together with. Too much self-awareness is both helpful and a curse. Would not be able to survive as easily in society without it, but in return, it is harder for me to open up myself for others. Story 10. Super introverted guy here, INTJ. I swiped her, ISFJ, on Tinder. She's 19 years old and a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. She had Tinder Gold, so we matched within 2 minutes. I spent over an hour on my opener. It was funny and confident. We had 4 exchanges total on Tinder about her dogs, how attractive we find each other, about bondage, and about meeting up, and about her phone number. We talked on WhatsApp a bit, met up a few days later. She brought her 2 dogs over to my place. She's also very introverted. We had a lot of silence, but we made jokes about it and were both cool with it. We practiced some rope things. Date ended with me sending her away in her car after she had asked for a second date. No advances even happened on the date. Well, then the next date we went to enjoy the nature with her dogs, had a good time, shared a wine bottle at my place, watched a movie, talked, some jokes and funny YouTube videos, made her laugh pretty good. Then I started making some moves on her, and she was prepared to smash already. So we did. We spent the night, and yeah, months later, she's my free use girlfriend, and we see each other 3 days of the week, and she lets me nut inside her whenever I want, and she's a really good girl all around. It's been pretty great. Like, the 5th time we ever met, we were already going to her grandparents' cottage with just the 2 of us and her dogs. Story 11. I was an introvert, but my wife was even more of one. We met on Facebook and were messaging for 4 months when we finally were supposed to meet. She started to panic, and she told me how she just escaped a few times just from her dates. For some odd reason, this made me confident. She was more shy than me, and that made me confident. When we met, I even told her to give me your hands, and we walked along the river. It was so cold, it was on New Year's. We met, and holding our hands, even though she was so shy, she noticed my hands were freezing, and she always somehow radiated heat. She warmed my hands. She took both of them and warmed them between hers. This didn't just warm my hands, but also my heart. I couldn't believe it. She was so cute warming my hands, but she couldn't look at my face because she was so shy, because it was New Year's, and we were kind of pushed into kissing each other. But it was such a beautiful moment, and then it's as if like a wind blew all our anxiety. We became so relaxed, and I've never felt tied so much to a person in my life. I've dated a couple of girls before, and each time I felt sick. Not because they were mean or anything, just because it all felt like a business transaction. It was cold between me and these girls. I didn't even have the courage to end it with them in person. Story 12. We broke up now, but in high school, I saw this cute girl sitting alone at lunch. I wanted to get to know her, but I was too afraid to say anything. I started sitting at her table for a couple of days, making her get used to my awesome presence. Then I made small talk, like, hi, and some other awkward stuff. As you can tell, this was my first time asking someone out. Then I decided to ask her if she was interested in anything. Apparently, she was interested in music. While we actually never did it, I asked if she was interested in making a band. She said yes, so I asked for her Instagram. Instead, she gave me her phone number, saying that she doesn't use her Instagram a lot. That was a lie. Then, before we knew it, we were dating, even talking about marriage. I'm a guy who dates to marry. Yes, I have thought of this in high school as well. But unfortunately, she wasn't thinking about marriage, which was understandable. It's not normal for high schoolers to start thinking about marriage. Only reason why I was thinking about marriage since high school was because my parents are old school Koreans. And in Korean culture, apparently it's normal for people to get married at 21. So, yeah, we broke up because of marriage. Story 13. Speaking as an autistic introvert, online dating did well for me, but it sounds like it's more of a cesspool now than it was back then. I ended up with so many women who normally would have been out of my league because I realized what attractive women, who don't want to just attract men through looks, don't use profile pictures. But if you care about looks, I do somewhat, you can still normally rely on their bio to give basic looks details on most sites. Then chatting online is easier than in person. At least I find so a lot. Just don't get dirty too quickly. It can be hard to judge when to put in flirty comments. Normally letting them set the tone for that kind of stuff is the best plan. Then meet in person at a bar or the like, but already know enough you have a few things to talk about. And hey, presto, from there, it went okay some of the time, and not so great other times. In my current relationship, she just asked me out one time after we both broke up with our previous partners, roughly the same time. So yeah, let your female friends know, by jokes and the like, that you're cool with women asking you out, and that sometimes you need a 2x4 to the head because anything more subtle is too subtle. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.